Hi, and welcome back.
It's been a while, but at last we're here again.
And this matchup is between me and Victor.
Yes, or Victarius, as he's known in the sports chat, which is sometimes frequent.
Yeah.
Swedish office days are boring.
Yeah, exactly. These tournaments that we're gonna upload during the coming weeks are gonna be from our...
Yeah, it's the beginners league format. So the basic box of awesomeness, and you add 2 boosters or a pack of seed 3 every week. We opted to do because we had some seed 2 and seed packs available, so we allowed those 2, but up to a maximum amount of 6 of each booster, so that people wouldn't go for like seed 2 every week.
Yeah. We also decided that we should increase the deck size by 5 cards after a while each week, since there was a lot of cards that everyone wanted to play, and, well, we just opted out.
Yeah, we we actually started increasing the deck size maybe a little bit late, so we had some really powerful decks for a while, because people, being competitive, they mostly chose C2 packs, and we see Victarius deck here. I'm not actually sure on the deck size this game, but he has 5 Golemizers.
Yeah. Which is quite useful for him, since he always gets that resource advance.
Advantage, yeah.
Yeah.
So we see here he actually takes back his play.
Since he doesn't have threshold
Yeah,
for
exactly.
his Pokebunny. He only has 1 elitism and 2 greed. I have 2 greed, and I start with most strategist.
Yep.
After playing a face down.
Yeah, and most strategist is a very good card, both in limited and in these kind of pseudo limited formats.
I believe that Victor plays him as well, mostly because he wanna search for that 1 rage that he actually includes in his deck.
Yep.
To play his midget mines, and actually I don't know what he uses it for.
He has midget mines, a blazing zero. I think he might have a tripwire in there as well. He also has karmic cakes, so he has no problem of, or maybe I just have the 1 karmic cake. I'm not sure.
Either way, his blazing zero has been proven quite useful in most games I've had against him.
Yeah. So the thing with allowing seed 2 and seed packs in this format is that you get crazy decks. So here we see a midget mine that he actually can't play because he doesn't have the rage threshold, as we mentioned. I'm not sure if anyone spots this.
I'm not entirely sure either.
But yeah, I mean,
either way,
these things happen. It's sometimes very hard to catch when you're playing. So we see the karmic cake at the end of the turn,
which is quite basic.
Yeah, he fetched an elitism. So he actually have kind of a lot of elitism in his deck, but he has ways to search them out. As we mentioned, the most strategist, the karmic cake. I think he also have 2 contriving engineers as well.
Yeah, I believe so as well.
So he actually plays a very rampy kind of deck. Tons of resources.
Yeah. If you're wondering what I'm shuffling about with my hands, is I'm actually explaining the game to a new person that's watching the game at the moment.
Yeah.
And sort of predicting what Victor will do. Yeah. I found it quite annoying after a while, so I apologize for that.
Yeah. Well, new players are always good.
Yeah, exactly. And, well, I think that I believe that I have a quite recent and decent start here, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're not applying any pressure, which actually might help Victor in the long run. But at the same time, you have
no threshold for my obsession.
Yeah, That's also true. But what I meant to say is that you have a lot of cards, so you can actually ramp the old-fashioned way by paying to lay resources.
Yeah, exactly.
And here I actually think that you...
Yeah, I pay 2 to draw a card with my... What the heck is that? Underhanded hangout?
Hangout, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
And with that, you pay 2 to draw a card.
Yeah, by inflicting 1 damage to a location that you own.
Precisely.
Yeah. So you opt to attack with the most strategist, giving you a card and him a resource.
Precisely.
I'm not sure I would agree with that play, but at the same time, I don't know how much item removal you play, so it would become a resource sooner or later.
Yeah. With my Arcanist Banker version, I only have Forget, and I'm planning on saving my Forget for
something
the
other than a
Golemizers.
midget, something other than a midget mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since the midget mines I can walk past with my bigger characters.
Yeah. So one thing to note here is that you actually ramp him up to 6. He opts to recur the Karmic Cake at the end of the turn, fetching the rage that he should have had earlier.
Yeah, I believe that we backtrack here. I don't remember. But I think I let it go since I don't really care that much. I'm fine with players making mistakes. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you can't be like, well, you get a warning. Because you can't really give someone a game loss for something that's actually both of the players' fault.
No, exactly.
It's one thing if you deliberately play a card and your intent is to play a card that you don't have threshold for, but if it's an honest mistake, which I assume here that it is,
Yeah.
because I mean these things happen.
Yeah,
then it's actually kind of both players' responsibility to check that.
Precisely.
And we also see the faction ability to draw a card at the end of the turn.
A lot of players actually forget about saving those resources to indicate that you actually have something to play, and just draw cards at the end of their own turn instead of waiting until the opponent's turn. Personally, I prefer to save some of them. Fine, you might get something, but if you draw during your own turn, but it's not very likely that you're gonna afford to actually play whatever you draw.
Yeah, generally aggressive decks wants to draw cards on their own turn and then just lay them on the table.
Yeah.
While more controlly decks prefer to not. So here he actually forgets to do his developer rule at the start of his turn, and hence the rage flopping up and down, up and down, up and down. So he gets to do a little bit of a delayed development, but he plays the Poke Bunny and 2 Golemizers, ramping 2 and killing a dude.
Yep.
Very good.
Those 5 Golemizers are quite annoying.
Yeah, and they're reusable.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, after a while they become kind of expensive.
They are kind of expensive, but sometimes they are worth it. Although he doesn't have the threshold to do them flip up at the moment, since they have actually 3 in threshold when they're flip up.
Yep. But I think that it won't be long before that
happens.
That changes. So here we see a deserted island. I'm not really fond of the card in itself. I think it's kind of fine in decks that run Selective Gluttony. Obviously these don't, since we only have 2nd edition.
Yeah.
The good thing is that you can draw a card for 1.
Yeah, when they're in the discard pile. But personally, I don't think it's worth actually having a card that costs 6 and lets you draw. Well, it's
4 cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Altogether.
In general. Since I would rather get a character that would allow me to draw a card or whatever.
Yeah.
Something that gives me board presence at least.
Yeah. And from all those 4 cards that he drew, he managed to find an elitism, so now he has 3. I think that unlocks pretty much every card in his deck.
Except,
Merbegon.
exactly.
Merbegon has 4?
Merbegon has 4.
Alright. We also opted to allow multiple Seed 2 pack, or rather Seed 3 packs. So I'm not sure if he has 2 Merbergons or if he has just the one.
I do believe that here he actually only has 1 during this matchup, but I believe that next week he actually has 2.
Yeah. And the thing with the beginner league here is that you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Yeah.
As long as the rules are clear, and since it's a beginner league, it should be fair to newer players.
Yeah, exactly.
So we currently we don't have that many new players. All of us playing in this format are pretty experienced, so we opted to allow some stuff that we think makes the game more interesting.
Yeah.
So we see an attack from the guard force there, first getting blocked by the quotidian assassination, and then played again and attacking through for 3. So the first blood has been drawn.
Yeah. And I play my Swarm of Gnats.
Yeah, finally getting that 2 threshold.
Yeah, exactly. But Swarm of Gnats it's always been a personal favorite of mine during Limited, since most cards are more important during Limited.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. You rarely have cards that aren't good in the specific matchup. Like, for example, against you, pretty much every item removal is kind of wasted.
Yeah, exactly. But he plays a Karmic Cake at the end of his turn. I'm guessing he's gonna search for another elitism so that he actually can play his Murbergurden.
Yeah. And the Swarm of Gnat discarded an Audacious Appraisal. You could argue that discarding the Karmic Cake and just getting the recur from it might be better.
Yeah, during this instant at least.
The thing with Audacious Appraisal is that it's, while I really love the card,
I love it as well.
I think it's not always that good of a card, especially in limited environments. I mean, most of the time it's just a burn card.
Yeah.
For like 3.
It depends on how you play it. Since some people actually play it only for a burn, while others play it as a removal.
Yeah.
But what you need to keep in mind is that you have to be able to be flexible, since if your opponent wants to make the burn and your opponent only, says 0, then it's still a fine removal.
Yeah. But you know, I mean, it's good in the late game.
Yeah. It's always nice to have that 2 cost removal when he has 1 life.
Yeah. That is very true. But in general, I don't think the card is that strong.
Well, mostly not, but it's a cheap removal mostly. Since if your opponent is really picky about their characters and they don't really want to say anything high, then you can mostly get a cheap character removed at least.
Yeah.
For example, during combat. What I mostly do when I play it, or it gets played against me, I more or less just think, how much life would I lose if my character gets removed? And then I just say that.
Mm.
Like if it's during combat and I would take 6 damage, I might say 6.
Yeah.
Since it's not really gonna matter how I take the damage. But
yeah, that is true.
But it's gonna matter if he actually wants to remove it and take the damage himself. Since if my character survives during the combat, I might be able to do something to his characters during combat.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of swinging way here, since, well, he can block my Swarm of Gnats and make it into a bunny again.
Yeah, exactly. So there's kind of a stalemate.
Yeah. Although, as we've seen from his hand, he does have a fat character, so it might actually switch around into more of a rush situation from Victor.
Yeah, where he just swings with everything.
Yeah, exactly. Since
One thing to note is that now Victor can attack, and you can't actually.
do much about it.
Yeah, because he has two guys that are speed 3, and your guys speed 2, and his guys will actually kill yours.
Precisely.
So I think the right play here is to block with both guys, making the rabbit into a character first, obviously,
Yeah.
and then turning it back if something happens.
Precisely. The reason why I'm attacking, if you haven't noticed, is that I have a forget on my hand. So if he decides to block with just one of them, like the toolbox elf, I can forget to prototype and kill off the character. If he blocks with both, I can just forget one of the characters. In this case, the Pogo Bunny.
Yeah.
Since then, my swarm of gnats would survive.
Yep. But Victor opted to go for a race, kind of.
Yeah. But he takes the damage instead. It's not really much damage. I mean, it's 2 life.
Yeah. One thing that I think most new players are very concerned about is their influence total. As long as you're above 1, you're still in the game.
Yeah.
Against Warlord, you might
be a little more careful.
Yeah, because they have Deadly Strikers and Bass Spies and stuff like that.
Yeah, a Spry Archer swinging a wave for that trigger 1 damage is always so annoying.
Yeah. But against pretty much everything else, as long as you're not dead, your influence doesn't really matter.
No, I've seen a lot of games where you go down to 3 influence and then just swarm the field and kill them off.
Yeah, it's not that unusual with that kind of comebacks. But a lot of newer players are like, well, I don't want to take this 3 damage, so I'll block with my guy that dies and your guy lives, and then you're basically wasting resources. And early game resources are very, very important.
Yeah.
Not just being effective with your actual resources, but the cards in hand, the cards on the field, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's those kind of things that snowball in the late game.
Precisely. With the Timid Mao, when is it that it loses life?
When it's blocked.
Oh, speed.
It doesn't lose life, it loses speed. And it's only when it's blocked, so it can block very well. It's a 4-5-3.
Yeah, so it's still pretty fat.
Yeah, so and Victarius doesn't really have the damage to actually kill it.
No.
Regardless of it losing speed or not.
Precisely. But it pays 5 to play his fatty fat.
Yeah, so it's Myrbegon, and the Timid Mao can't really block this without dying and leaving him with a guy, and you with not a guy.
Precisely. I think I opt out by taking the damage here. I can't really remember. But yeah, I take the damage.
Yeah, I think taking the damage here is the right call. One thing to note about Victor's deck is that he has, I think, 2 Guard Force Alpha Prime Elves. Nowadays, I think you have 2 Myrmegons. He also has 2 Cantankerous Clayworks.
Yeah, both in foil.
Yeah, for some weird reason. And we actually saw him open the boosters with the cards in, so there was no cheating there.
No. We all bought them at the same time, so... So there's a lot of haste characters that can just hit the field and swing away as soon as they enter play.
Yeah, and with Epic Dude Makers and Hot Peppers, it's very dangerous to not have blockers against them.
Yeah. Ooh, right. I forgot I played Gaiseric in that deck.
Gaiseric is very good.
Yeah, especially since I actually have a lot of bounce. I haven't hit a lot of my bounce during this matchup, but...
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is that in Limited, I think Gaiseric is, or Limited-esque. So here you play the Forget, and, well, obviously he's going to have Blazing Zero it.
Yeah.
Not to lose a character, and a card. So I think he did the right thing there.
Yeah.
Because Geyseric basically turns every bounce into a removal.
Yeah. I must admit, I had a better opportunity to play that card, since I could have played it if I waited for him to draw. Then I wouldn't have gotten struck by at least Tactician Vacation.
Yeah, that's true.
But since he had Blazing Zero, which is less likely that he could have had, but still.
And it's also cheaper, so it's harder to play around.
Yeah, but I pay 1 for a Chaos Law, remove a tactic, and search for a tactic that costs 1 or less. So I search for a 0-cost tactic. Which one is it now?
Quotidian Transposition.
Exactly. That bounces 1 of each player's characters.
Yeah, but the player gets to choose, so...
Precisely. And my plan, since I actually have 1 resource extra, I can play it, use Geyseric's thing to actually remove the character that gets bounced for Victarius.
Yeah. I don't think you played it here. You just
no, I haven't played it yet, since I'm still mixing my deck.
Yeah. So he blocks with the toolbox elf.
Yeah.
The attack from the Timid Mao. Getting to search for a card.
Precisely.
Search for a card, any card. And here I think that not playing the transposition here was the right call.
Yeah, since I know that he has a lot of fatter dudes, and also if I play it now, I know that
he can just turn the rabbit into a character and bounce the character, the rabbit.
Yeah, but then I would get rid of the rabbit at least.
Yeah, but he still would have the 5/5/3.
Yeah, but I do believe I'm waiting for him to actually pay 3 to draw a card.
Yeah.
Since if he does that, he's not going to be able to turn the rabbit into a character, and I'm going to be able to bounce and remove his Murbagon.
Yeah, exactly. So
I passed the turn.
Yeah, and here the thing is that both players know that the Quotidian Transposition is in hand. So I think actually not drawing a card for the last three resources is the right thing to do.
Victor draws a card, and do I actually respond there?
Draw a card.
I believe I plan to respond, but it doesn't seem like I'm doing it.
Yeah, you just let it go.
Well, that's annoying.
So yeah, obviously you should have played the Quotidian Transposition.
Yeah, obviously.
One thing to note is that Victarius actually have the Exploding Sock Puppet, so if you remove 1 character and then use the Geyseric ability, he can kill your Geyseric.
Yeah, which is quite annoying.
Yeah, the Exploding Sock Puppet is it's so annoying to play against. You never expect it. We haven't seen it a lot in Sweden recently.
No, since we don't really use that many characters that uses abilities, except, well, Fired Hand, but he's not, well, allowed during our current meta.
Yeah.
Since we, at the moment, play second.
Yeah. Or rather, at the moment, now we're playing this.
Yeah, exactly.
The Beginners League. So here he goes for the Fired Hand against Geyseric. I think that this is not very good, since he has since we know that you have the Quotidian Transposition to be able to save it.
Yeah, and he also technically has field control.
Yeah, and he also discarded a Gilded Yurt, which is super good, especially with Murbagon, since he doesn't care that he gets phased out, because he can still just attack every turn, either way.
But I play my Quotidian Transposition, and he actually says that he's not responding to it. So I pay my 1 to actually bounce his Murbagon. And there's not really much he can do about it, and I bounce my
Swarm Gnats. Yeah, to get more triggers.
Yeah, so he discards his Epic Dude Maker, and I remove his Myrmidon.
Yeah, so all of a sudden you're in a very good spot.
Precisely, and he keeps using his fired hand
Yeah.
to kill it off. Wouldn't be kind of stupid not to continue to try and kill it if you actually have invested 2 cards already in trying to remove him. Or does he only have 2 life?
I guess Eric has 2 life.
Okay, so fine, 2 cards, but it's still you pay for it. But I start my turn by playing my Swarm Gnats that I bounced, since he doesn't really have that much cards in hand.
Yeah, and he opts to discard the Joe Mother of Leet. I think this is actually kind of good, since he wants some characters in his discard pile.
How come?
Because he has the Miraculous Regeneration in hand.
Oh, right. I didn't notice it.
Which, again, is more ramp and recursion for the characters. Unfortunately, the Myrmidon isn't in his discard pile.
Since it's removed from play.
Yeah. But, you know, stuff like that happens.
Yeah. And he still has 2 resources, so he can use his bunny, so that's why I'm not swinging away with the Timid Mal, since there's really no reason for me to do it.
Well, you lock his 2 resources. I think actually attacking with the Timid Mal there would be better.
But then I wouldn't have any blockers if he has any haste characters.
You have the Swarm of Gnats.
Yeah, I have 1.
Yeah.
But he has 5 cards in hand, and I'm guessing...
No, he doesn't.
Oh,
he has
those
like
were
2 cards in hand.
I was wondering where those came from. He pays 3 to draw a card and draw some...
Micro Magic Maker.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, now we at least know that he has the Hot Pepper in hand.
Yeah, precisely.
But you guys don't. Or rather, you didn't when you played the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And there seems to be a lot of thinking going on.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not sure if the mic picks up on this, but there's some
Construction going on here.
Yeah, so there's some hammering and some stomping going on.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't pick up too much of it.
No, exactly. Either way, he plays his Micro Magic Maker, and if he actually plans to get the Joe back from the discard pile, it's actually a good play, since he's gonna be able to use those for resources later.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, I don't really have a field wipe with my characters at the moment.
So we see the Miraculous Regeneration here, picking the Joe and the Toolbox Elf.
Yeah. I don't know what other gears he actually has in his deck.
I think he has like 2 Dude Makers. One we've seen, and the other one is probably in the deck still. He has a Hot Pepper in his hand. He have at least 1 prototype that we've seen.
But that's in the discard at the moment.
I think he might have Caltrops.
I don't think he's gotten Caltrops, actually. Caltrops would be an ideal thing to actually pick. It's one of my new favorites with Toolbox Elf. Since if you... Why is he placing it there? It's not used. Thank you. Since if you play the Toolbox Elf and your opponent doesn't respond, you can search for the Caltrops, and he can't really respond to you playing it as a trigger and inflicting 2 damage to one of his characters.
Yeah.
So playing a Toolbox Elf might actually be a hidden removal that your opponent doesn't really expect.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter if you have the rage or not. Just getting that surprise Caltrops might be really, really good. In this case, I think it's not that good, since it doesn't really kill anything off.
No, precisely. But in instances like if your opponent plays Yurt or Inadequate Wand, playing a Toolbox Elf, your opponent's not really gonna respond to you playing a Toolbox Elf. I mean, mostly they search for Prototype or Hot Pepper.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't really consider
or Craghammer.
Exactly. You don't really consider them as being removal. But if one of those hits the field and Dwarvish Greenmalkin gets 2 damage and gets destroyed, it's always a nice thing. You
Yeah.
just see those yurt targets disappear. And I play a removal on Joe with my... Oh god, what's it called?
Contractual execution.
Exactly. Which has a part of the cost is that Victor has to actually pick up a resource.
Yeah.
Sadly enough, it doesn't say that on exactly that card.
Yeah,
but
for some weird reason, the basic box of awesomeness printings of the card have a different wording. It's not the correct one. The current wording is always on spoilsinventory.com. So be sure to check that out if you have any doubts of what the card actually says.
Precisely. We can just blame China for that one. And, well, Victor is considering swinging away. No, right. He's trying to use the effect, but those characters haven't been in play since start of his turn. They've been in play since start of my turn.
Yeah.
Which is a fundamental difference here. Since they don't really have their ability to draw a card yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, well, deplete to...
deplete to reduce the numeric cost of the next numeric cost you pay this turn.
Precisely. If it did, he could have actually... he has the option to pay one, make his Pogo Bunny into a character, and then pay one to... Or, well, deplete it to actually have the effect. But it wouldn't really help him.
No, it wouldn't. It would just deplete the bunny.
Exactly.
And that's one thing to actually... I think that's a very neat interaction between the two cards. It makes the Pogo Bunny a really, really good blocker with Joe.
No, I like that it's well, sort of cheaper Pogo Bear. I mean, fine, it doesn't have the exactly same stats. I mean, the Pogo Bear is obviously stronger, but the Pogo Bunny is... I mean, it's perfectly fine blocker.
Yeah, I think the Pogo Bunny is more defensive, while the Pogo Bear is more offensive.
Precisely. I mean, the Pogo Bear can kill off a erotic assassin, but the Pogo Bunny can, well, it doesn't really bankrupt you to use it.
Yeah, and also a Pogo Bunny won't really kill off any characters.
No.
So we see a Homewrecker and another underdog hangout. Underhand. Oh, well. The location.
The building. And I actually pay 5 for my Homewrecker, since if I would inflict 2 damage to that location, it would be destroyed before my Homewrecker actually hits play.
Yep, and we see the poor Micromajig falling victim to the brutal attacks of the Timid Mao.
But not a lot of damage being dealt out at this moment.
Yeah. So we see a Clandestine Resort, a very good card in the format. Makes fat guys even fatter.
Yeah. It's especially good against me, since I don't really have that much strength in most of my characters. I believe that Timid Mao is actually one of my strongest characters in this deck.
Mm-hmm.
He plays among strategist, searching for another elitism. He doesn't really have that many more elitism in his deck, as far as I know, but it's always nice to just get them out of there.
Yeah, make sure you don't draw them. And it's a free card that you can play for a resource.
Yeah. And having resources, as we all know, is always a good thing.
Yep. Make sure to always have resources.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's often something that beginners have a problem with, actually paying... actually taking that, well, stab in the heart to actually play one of your good cards as a face-down resource to get something that's dividable by 3. Since if you have 6 or 9, you're way off better than just having like 5.
Or a single card in hand that you might save for later.
Yeah.
So here we see the Golemizers. The the reusability coming into play as he plays 2 of them on the Timid Mao. And I think ending his turn.
Yeah. I play Cowslaw for 1, removing 3 tactics.
Yep.
I don't really remember what I want to find, but
Yeah, and you also get to draw a card from.
Yeah, since I played it with flip.
Yeah, and you do that as part of the cost and not as a part of the effect.
That's why I draw a card before I start searching my deck.
Yeah, exactly.
I do believe I was actually hoping to find another quotidian transposition and just bounce my Tibin Mao.
Yeah. But then you'd actually bounce his Golemizers, so you can just replay them later.
Yeah, but if I bounced it now, he wouldn't get them as face-down resources, and he wouldn't be able to use his Pogo Bunny.
That is true. Although I'm I have a sneaking suspicion that he won't be using the Pogo Bunny either way,
No.
because he will get the 2 resources from the Golemizers, and he has the exploding sock puppet. So if you try something funny with a home wrecker, which I think is the obvious thing to do, deplete the Mouse Strategist and the Micro Magic Maker to force him into using the Pogo Bunny.
Precisely. But at this time, I don't really have any tactic that I actually want to use that costs 3 or less.
So you search for a tactic that costs 4?
No,
sneaky cheater.
I don't believe I actually picked that. Yeah, exactly. That's when I remind myself, oh right, I can't really pick it. What? No! Stop it! Well, that's embarrassing. Although it's not as embarrassing as missing that rage in the beginning.
Yeah, that is true. And the Golemizer kills off the Timid Mao there.
Though I do believe I actually might have removed 4.
Well, either way. Mistakes are mistakes. They might have been made. Let's get on with our lives.
See, even experienced players make mistakes.
Yeah. Not that I ever do.
About that.
Yeah. I especially don't steal cards. I've never done that in my entire life, and there's no video proof of it.
That's the thing that usually can happen when you play Rapine and Ass.
Yeah.
You ass.
So those are 2 cards that I play in my deck in the league.
Spoilers for all of you. It's quite annoying to actually see an ass during this kind of format. You don't really opt out to play a lot of removal for items like ass.
Yeah, I actually play a lot of item removal in general.
But you just want to remove your own ass.
Yeah, well, that might be true. So yeah, we see the most strategist here getting killed
by the swarm of gnats.
Yeah.
Then I use my unnatural alteration on my swarm of gnats. Now, if he doesn't kill it, I get to search for a character that costs 7 or less and play it for free.
Yep. So I'm assuming it's a Pincock, or
I don't think I have threshold for it.
Oh right, yeah.
And I think that's bugging the shit out of me. So
then I'm not actually sure what you should get.
I think I actually searched for a Geyseric. No! Bodyguard. Please be a bodyguard. It's quite annoying to be wrong all the time in my own game.
Yeah. At the same time, we see the hot pepper and cantankerous clay work in Victor's hand, so I assume this is something that will happen during his next turn.
Well, from my experience, Victor seems to be saving those quite a lot until your opponent is really tapped out, more or less.
Yeah, but the thing is, you'll have, like... Oh, so you go for the covert character. The hired goons.
Yeah. To be honest, I actually think that was one of the better choices. I don't know if he actually has any characters on his hand, and if I want to win, I need to swing away with damage.
Yeah, but the thing is, he can always just forfeit his turn paying 8 to kill your guy. Or 6 rather, with the refund that you get from the golemizers.
Yeah, precisely.
So I think getting huge characters isn't actually the answer here. And you get a Devil Fang Thunderhoof with 3 tokens, so he's mighty strong.
And I swing away for 3.
Yeah, we see the Homewrecker attack. I think just letting it go is the right thing to do here. Yeah.
Which Victor actually does.
Yep.
Congratulations, Victor.
You did what we thought you'd do. So that's... And the thing is with these kind of league games is that a lot of games tend to go this way. It's like 2 characters duking it out, and no one really taking any damage, and a lot of stalemate and a lot of ramping. But then I think that's also part of our Swedish metagame, because we tend to play decks that likes to ramp and just play resources and draw cards, and play resources and draw cards. Not really playing cards unless you really have to.
Yeah, we tend to have stalemates that more or less it looks like a stalemate, but one of the players are drawing away with all the cards in his deck, playing resources more than his opponent, and then just suddenly when the board is slightly in the opponent's favor, just slam out a bunch of characters and then just swing away for game.
Yeah.
Just not leaving that opportunity to play removal on all of them.
Yeah. Then again, that's the Swedish metagame.
It's different everywhere.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's different, like anywhere but Sweden.
Well, yeah, it was quite different when we were at GenCon, so...
Yeah, that was actually really interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see all the other players' decks.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Monty decks.
Yeah, and everybody loves their Monty.
Yep.
So here we actually see the Cantankerous Claywork.
Fatty McFat.
Yeah, and I think this is really the thing to do here. And I think what he should do next is play the hot, or rather the hot pepper.
Precisely.
On the Claywork. We know that he have the
Sock Puppet.
Yeah, so I think depleting him here is the right thing to do, but he has the Sock Puppet, so we know that...
That's not really gonna do anything for me.
Yeah, although you don't.
I respond to it, and as we see, he responds to it, and I'm slightly annoyed.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can't really protect yourself against it. You just have to take the damage.
Take it like a man.
Yeah.
Or, well, cat in this case.
Yeah. So we see the chump block from the from the Devil Fang.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, so he swings through for 2 with the Macromajig Maker. Not really getting to do... Oh, I'm not sure about this play at all. Attacking with the Cantankerous Claywork. And then, I assume, with the Macromajig Maker for 3.
Yeah. I'm guessing he's gonna do that as well. But he seems to be considering it a little bit. Yeah.
So he attacks with that one as well, leaving you at 6 influence.
Yep, not a lot.
Although, according to your life counter, it seems to be just 5. 5. Oh, well, I'm stupid. I can't count.
We can blame it on that it's morning here.
Yeah, it's early Saturday morning, or rather early. Yeah, I've been having a mini vacation. Niklas has been working all week. We're all tired.
It's what you get when you actually only have like 5 hours of sunshine.
Yeah.
Well,
So after this, we're going out wrestling some polar bears, drinking beer, because that's what we do.
precisely.
Yeah. Stereotypes. Woohoo!
Well, spoilers. I'm considering what I might actually do to turn this around,
Yep.
and I play my pluck, or well, Mr. Fetch, as he's called.
Yep. Get to draw a card, and you get to search for a card as well.
Yeah. If I had more resources, I think I might have been able to, well, stabilize at least, but at this moment I don't really have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah. So you get to search for either a character or a tactic, I think.
Yeah. I do believe that what I want to search for is a location, but I can't remember which one I want at this point. If I had 4 resources, I could have done something at least, but I just swing away with my
Hired goons.
Precisely.
Killing off the
Resort at least.
Yeah.
But there's not really much I can do at this point.
Yeah. And while we see that it looks like Victarius has the edge from having a larger field, it's mainly because he has more resources to be able to do more stuff. I mean, paying 8 or 6 rather every turn to kill off a guy with the Golemizers help with that as well. And we see a fired hand here, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't really see what face down card he flashed. So you respond. Yeah, big surprise there.
Yeah. And remove 2 tactics if I remember correctly, because I want to find a removal of some sort.
Yeah, because otherwise you just die.
Yeah. I'm sort of pooped if I don't find a removal that costs 3 and can remove the clay work.
Yep.
But I do believe I've already played those.
Yeah. Do you have more of the Ritual of the Nabumpo?
I actually only got 1.
Right.
I'm really scarce in removals.
Mm-hmm. So at this point you actually have to show the card you search
every
for,
time,
since it's not just a card, it's a specific card.
Yeah, and I search for Mutiny Ground, since, well, it's not really helping a lot, but it's helping.
It gives you a turn.
Yeah, precisely.
No, it doesn't actually.
Well, I use it to steal a character I can block with.
Yeah, but the thing is, if he just attacks with both at the same time, you don't get anything that you can block with.
No. Actually, part of Mutiny Ground is that I restore the character.
Oh, right, that's true. I'm saying that.
Either way, he swings away, and if I steal his God Force, I will die from
the maker.
Precisely.
And if you steal, so the only thing you can steal is the maker.
Precisely.
Restore it and block and take the 4 damage from the guard force.
Sadly enough. So I'm dead either way.
Yep. And we actually see the pluck just staying on the table, which you shouldn't do. And also your hangout is still depleted. So sloppy play there.
I steal his maker, block with it, take 2 damage.
Yeah, from or rather lose 2 influence, and that's the game.
And that's at least the first game for now.
Yep. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry again for
background noise.
Yeah, background noises and not actually making those videos. We've been kind of busy and we lost the Swedish national video files due to a corrupted hard drive. So hopefully these ones will go up, and hopefully we'll be able to schedule more of these recording sessions in the future.
So until next time, have fun.
Play sports.